Guys, look at Marissa's view.
Wait.
This is dumb. This is not real. Do you want to be in it?
Sure.
Oh my god, guys. This is the first person who ever believed in me.
Oh.
So true.
Beyond.
After months of swirling rumors, speculation, and leaked reports about the casting for HBO's Harry Potter series, followed by waves of backlash from diehard fans over some of the casting decisions, we are once again facing a heated race-swapping controversy. This seems to be a recurring issue in pop culture. Every few years, a beloved property gets updated or modernized, and fans are quick to either embrace it or reject it outright. Harry Potter, despite being one of the most beloved and iconic franchises in modern literature and film, has not been immune to these debates. Even with setbacks like the poorly received stage play that most fans refuse to consider canon, and the diminishing returns of the Wizarding World movie series, particularly after the recasting of Johnny Depp, the brand has continued not just to survive, but to thrive in the hearts of millions. Much of this success is due to J.K. Rowling's controversial, yet occasionally pragmatic approach to certain issues, which has kept the fandom engaged even amid heated disagreements. When Warner Bros. Officially announced the new Harry Potter series for HBO Max, the promise was clear: this would be a faithful adaptation of the original novels. Unlike the films, which many fans loved but also acknowledged often missed the depth and nuance of the books, the series aimed to capture every detail, character arc, and magical element in a way that would satisfy hardcore readers. For many, this announcement sparked cautious optimism, with the potential for the series to become one of the largest, most ambitious, and most successful adaptations in television history, provided the casting stayed true to the source material. Fans were hopeful that the series would finally give them a version of Harry Potter that felt authentic, immersive, and fully faithful to J.K. Rowling's vision. Then came the casting announcement that reignited the debate. Snape is black. Immediately, the internet erupted. Many fans argued that this decision ignored the original character descriptions, choosing identity and representation over fidelity to the books. To purists, it felt like a betrayal of the source material, while others applauded the move as a progressive step toward diversity, equity, and inclusion in one of the most influential franchises of our time. The tension between honoring a story that millions hold dear and adapting it to reflect modern social values is nothing new, but it remains one of the most polarizing issues in fandom today. This single casting choice sparked intense discussions, memes, think pieces, and social media arguments, showing just how passionately people feel about keeping a beloved universe intact versus updating it for a contemporary audience. And while some fans are furious and feel the franchise has been fundamentally altered, others see it as a long overdue step toward inclusion, highlighting the ongoing cultural battle over how stories, especially iconic ones, should evolve in the 21st century. Honestly, I'm a little perturbed by this race swap. It feels unnecessary. The rumor has been circulating for about 3 months, and back then, everyone was collectively hoping it wasn't true. But now, it seems like it is. Take, for example, the casting of Janet McTeer as McGonagall. I have no problem with that at all. But when it comes to Papa Isiadu being cast as Snape in the HBO series, I have to ask, why not give actors of color characters that are written with their likeness in mind? This isn't about attacking anyone or denying opportunities. It's about honoring the source material. Fans read the books and imagine these characters as they were described, often with very specific hints about race, appearance, and personality. Interestingly, Rachel Zegler was reportedly considered for a major role in the reboot. Not Hermione, not Luna, but a brand new character. The studio seemed to think, why not reboot a magical world with controversy baked in? The term modern was thrown around repeatedly, perhaps too much, and as you might expect, the internet erupted. Suddenly, what should have been creative decisions turned into a firestorm of backlash. Executives reportedly panicked, backing away faster than Neville Longbottom at a Death Eater convention, with phrases like, "We can't handle 2 fires at once," allegedly muttered in Warner Bros. Hallways. The reboot was already under scrutiny for race-bending Snape, so adding Rachel Zegler into the mix only intensified the cauldron of controversy. Her involvement reminded everyone of the Snow White incident, where what was supposed to be a classic fairy tale quickly turned into a PR nightmare. In interviews, Ziegler's candid remarks, calling the prince a literal stalker and the 1937 classic weird, didn't exactly endear her to fans who cherished the original story. Yet, Disney doubled down, banking on her massive fanbase to fill seats regardless of any backlash. It's a perfect example of the tension between creative reinterpretation, celebrity influence, and fan expectations in beloved franchises today. Even as the film stumbled out of the gate, audiences continued to show up, lining up to see Rachel Zegler despite the growing cloud of controversy surrounding her. She projected a mix of confidence and defiance, seemingly convinced that people would follow her anywhere, no matter the backlash. At one particularly memorable press event, Zegler made headlines by claiming she deserved royalties every time someone streamed the movie, a statement that landed awkwardly. Given that streaming numbers were low, theaters were eerily empty, and social media quickly transformed her remark into one of the most mocked and least relatable memes of the year. Meanwhile, Zegler's interviews became increasingly bizarre. She appeared to be cosplaying a Disney executive rather than promoting a movie, casually dropping lines that sounded more like unscripted podcast rants than professional film marketing. Industry insiders joked that clips of her press appearances were being circulated at competing studios as examples in training sessions titled "How Not to Market a Movie, the Musical." The fallout only intensified with the now infamous Oscars appearance alongside Gal Gadot. While presenting the award for Best Visual Effects, the pair's dynamic, or lack thereof, was painfully awkward. Observers described it as less of a professional team-up and more like an HR mediation session. No eye contact, zero chemistry, 6 feet apart, but emotionally light years away. Rumor has it that Gadot was silently thinking, "I'm only here because my contract said so," while Zegler delivered her lines in a way that suggested she was trying to assert dominance over the stage. The awkwardness went viral instantly, creating a ripple of concern throughout Hollywood. Because while bad press can be managed, cringe-inducing press like this is impossible to spin. 5 minutes of uncomfortable silence and misaligned energy became an object lesson in PR disaster, with executives quietly panicking behind the scenes. Disney, of course, had to confront a harsh financial reality. With Snow White projected to lose up to $350 million, executives reportedly began debating morality clauses, damage control strategies, and, even if satirically, whether they could hold Zegler financially responsible for emotional damages inflicted upon shareholders. The studio moved quickly to cancel all of her media appearances, trying to contain the damage. The backlash wasn't just about the movie's box office performance, it was about the perception of Zegler herself. Critics and fans alike pointed out that the casting choice seemed out of touch with audiences, amplifying the public's dissatisfaction. Every attempt she made to defend the film or push her personal agenda only compounded the issue, threatening not only Disney's bottom line but the company's reputation as a whole. Behind the scenes, seasoned industry veterans reportedly shook their heads in disbelief, some even remarking, "Rachel Zegler can just write herself out of this one," as executives scrambled to salvage both the project and the studio's image. Suddenly, Rachel Zegler wasn't just the star of a struggling remake, she had become a living, breathing cautionary tale. Casting directors everywhere started using her as the before photo in their risk assessment folders. In under 12 months, she had gone from Hollywood darling to a reputation speedrun, a case study in how quickly fame can sour. Her team scrambled, trying everything from blaming public misunderstanding, media distortion, and even Mercury in retrograde. But nothing stuck. The internet had already passed judgment, and once Reddit threads began calling her Snow Woke, it became clear that her best move might have been to retreat entirely and start a quiet life growing herbs in the countryside. Meanwhile, the upcoming Harry Potter reboot was already navigating its own minefield of controversies. Bringing Rachel into the mix reportedly felt like casting a dragon to play a house elf, an undeniably risky move guaranteed to cause collateral damage. While the studio never publicly confirmed the decision, insiders say a Zoom call ended with the words, "We're good, thanks," followed by, "Let's go with literally anyone else." And just like that, Rachel Zegler's magical journey to Hogwarts was over before it even began. Not with a scandal, not with a spell, but with a quiet realization. Even in a fantasy world full of trolls and curses, PR disasters remain painfully real. Rachel went silent. No tweets, no TikToks, no Instagram posts about empowerment over tea or photos of her boots on a balcony. Her retreat came days after reports surfaced that Disney, fed up with the Snow White fallout, had approached her legal team about financial accountability. Rumor has it they were considering making her partially responsible for the mess. Almost immediately after, she reportedly boarded a flight to Colombia. Whether it was self-care, strategic damage control, or both, the timing was perfect. Just as scrutiny reached its boiling point, she vanished from the public eye. One day, she was giving impassioned speeches about modern feminism and misunderstood dwarfs. The next, her location became a whispered question in industry circles. The narrative shifted from Snow White's flop to Rachel's disappearance. When your name is trending under hashtags like #SnowWoke and No Prince No Plot, retreat isn't a choice, it's survival. But the internet, of course, never sleeps. Minecraft's latest movie opened with $300 million globally, while Snow White limped to just $77 million despite weeks of marketing, moral lectures, and viral memes. Social media responded with brutal humor. Side-by-side videos compared packed Minecraft premieres with eerily empty Snow White screenings. One viral clip even showed a man entering a deserted theater, whispering, "Hello!" like it was haunted. Another spliced Rachel's infamous "The Prince is a Stalker" quote over footage of cheering Minecraft fans. Suddenly, a movie about blocky characters was outperforming a big-budget fairy tale reimagining. Then came the animated body blows. The Simpsons aired a biting parody titled SnowWoke, the reimagining, featuring a character named Rachel Zegler who bans the prince and replaces the dwarfs with ethically optimized companions. Public perception had shifted from disappointment to outright ridicule. Rachel's attempt to reimagine a classic fairy tale had now become a cultural meme, a cautionary tale for Hollywood about the risks of ambition, celebrity influence, and unchecked social media backlash. Rachel Zegler's public image continued to unravel as animated parodies cemented her as a cultural punchline. In one episode, she delivered long, meandering speeches about patriarchy to uninterested villagers, ultimately melting down on Krusty the Clown's couch while studio executives quietly slipped out the back. South Park followed suit, portraying her as a narcissistic activist who rebrands Disney's intellectual properties without ever reading the original stories. When even Cartman calls you too much, it's probably time to step away from the public eye. These weren't just jokes. They were full-scale cultural eulogies, a back-to-back satirical takedown tour that officially marked her transition from celebrity to case study. Behind the scenes, the industry took note. Rachel's name quietly disappeared from casting shortlists, and projects that once courted her shifted in entirely different directions. No one wanted a billion-dollar franchise anchored to the public perception of SnowWoke. Studio producers whispered about the unpredictable energy she brought to press events and the unquantifiable risks of backlash. This wasn't personal, it was purely mathematical. Hollywood has the memory of a goldfish, but the wallet of a dragon. And the calculus was simple. Attaching Rachel Zegler to a high-profile IP was too risky. Once hailed as the next big thing after West Side Story, Rachel had now become a ghost of what could have been. From standing beside Spielberg to being lampooned by animated characters, the fall was cinematic, steep, and unrelenting. Yet, she is still young, and Hollywood loves a comeback story, especially one filled with tears, apologies, and a Netflix docuseries to frame the narrative. But rebuilding her career won't be as simple as posting a heartfelt note in a phone app. Audiences remember everything: the long speeches, the public shade, the infamous "I deserve royalties" moment, the awkward Oscars silence with Gal Gadot, the empty theaters, and the relentless parodies. Now, her absence speaks louder than any soundbite ever could. Rachel isn't just battling a bad movie or a media cycle, she's up against a cultural moment that made her a symbol of something bigger, whether she intended it or not. A true comeback will require humility, reinvention, and probably years away from the spotlight to reset public perception. Until then, Snow White remains shelved. Minecraft continues printing money, and Rachel Zegler is far from Hollywood. Somewhere in Colombia, navigating the long, difficult path from cautionary tale back to relevance.